All right. I'm going to try this again. This is kind of nervous to do this, but I'm going to try. Okay. So this is New Music Friday. I'm Nathan on Shuffle, and today is Friday, February 11th, 2022. I've been kind of playing around with the idea of doing a live version of this show, so I thought it could be fun to try to experiment with that format. So it might be a little bit, I'm still trying to figure out the bugs and figure out a way to do this, but I thought it could be fun, like, to every week kind of pop on in real time and give the New Music Friday, the weekly news, in that form. So that's kind of what I'm trying out today. We'll see if it works. So that's the idea, and it's just kind of a quick way for me to be able to film this, get it out there right away, because sometimes it takes a while to edit it, and I feel like it comes out too late in the day and a lot of people miss it. So it's just kind of an attempt for me to really get it done in a timely manner and to get it out there, and perhaps as I get more comfortable with the process, to get some feedback in real time, or maybe even do some Q&A type stuff as we go about, and just a way to give you guys kind of live updates on my channel, and do this in a new form. Just kind of gives variety in a new format. So testing it out. It may be a little weird, but if it doesn't work, then we'll go back to our regularly scheduled version next week. So, but I'm just going to attempt it today. So I have a lot of interesting news items that I wanted to get to, the top 5 headlines for the week. So I'm going to go for it. So our first headline, kind of starting on a sad note, I tend to talk about this a little bit, the passing away of various musicians who are notable in the world of prog. And this one is the passing of Ian Mcdonald, co-founder of King Crimson and Foreigner. So he's unfortunately passed away at age 75. Sounds like he was on the very first King Crimson record, playing some predominantly saxophone. He also plays a bunch of other instruments: keyboards, flute, vibraphone, and guitar. He kind of has a multi-instrumentalist background, plays as a session player, but the two most notable bands that he's connected to are King Crimson and Foreigner. So those are really the ones that stand out as big bands that he covers. But he's involved in a lot of different projects and involved in with a lot of different musicians. There was a lot of commentary on social media and stuff, kind of, remembering his contributions in life to the music scene, and Steve Hackett gave a really nice message because he worked with him as well. So Hackett tweeted, "I'm really sad to hear the news of Ian Mcdonald's passing. He was a great friend and an incredible musician / songwriter. He'll be very much missed." So kind of unfortunate news there, that he passed, but definitely a musician to celebrate, and one that really made a mark in the world of progressive rock. And so I wanted to honor his memory and talk about him briefly on this episode. Headline number 2 is Big Big Train's latest news. They kind of released a statement this morning, actually, a statement from their manager, Nick Shilton. Basically, there's been a lot of question after David Longdon's passing. Their lead singer, David Longdon, passed away tragically last year, and there was a lot of question of how will the band continue, what are they going to do at this point, and what they've decided is that they are going to continue as a group. So that was exciting news. It's a very short statement. It doesn't really give many details about what to expect. They're still working that out, and we'll kind of have to wait and see as things go on. But it's just the news that they're continuing. They're going to continue as a band, which is exciting to me. I really love the work they've been doing. Their last couple records have been really fantastic, and they're gelling as a new group. And so it would be sad if they weren't able to continue. So it's really good that they're able to continue and do that. So I'm really excited to see what they do in the future. It sounds like it was David Longdon's wish for them to continue, even after the fact that he wouldn't be with the band anymore. And his partner, Sarah, who's been involved with the band, co-signs on this and is on board with them continuing as they are. So we'll see what that holds in the future. It could be a while till we see like new material or new things develop, but it's just a good sign that they're continuing. And so I just wanted to make sure to mention that in this episode. So headline number 3, new album coming out from Tiger Moth Tales. The album is called A Song of Spring and is being released on White Knight Records on March 4th. Really should be an exciting release. Tiger Moth Tales is a great kind of symphonic prog group that I think is really a good, notable group that a lot of people would really like, who like all the progressive rock that I like. Of course, kind of spearheaded by Peter Jones, who's been in Camel and a few other things and has been kind of a notable person in the prog realm. But he has an incredible voice, a credible at multi-instrumentalist. You know, he does all of the things. And so definitely a musician to follow. He was part of the Cyan release last year that I really loved. He's kind of becoming the lead singer of that group, but this is kind of his own project that he's done, and there's been several albums already. Depths of Winter, most notably in 2017, is a great record, and it seems like this is related to that album. It's kind of him doing the different seasons. You know, that one was about winter, this one's about spring, and so kind of the seasons saga that he's continuing. But there's a lot of other records that he's been involved in and a part of that have been really great. So just wanted to mention that. I think that's going to be a really cool record coming out. And there's also a single that came out to accompany this announcement called Spring Fever, and I'll put that in the description. I'm going to figure out how this works with live streaming and creating a description and the archive video and all that stuff. But I definitely want to link to it because it's a fantastic track, very reminiscent of kind of the Wind and Wuthering style era of Genesis to me, but fantastic vocals, fantastic playing. So it's just great stuff that you should be aware of if you appreciate that kind of classic symphonic prog sound, like classic Genesis and Yes and Camel and all of those groups. Of course, they're right in line with all of that stuff. So it should be a great album, and it's coming out fairly soon on March 4th. So that should be a really cool release to look forward to. Headline number 4, something I've been kind of following. This is a group that's coming out. It's kind of a live group, I think, covering a lot of progressive rock songs in their live show. The band is called, ProgJect. Kind of hard to say sometimes. ProgJect. And they're welcoming a new member into their little cover group. Mike Keneally is joining the group. Mike Keneally is a very notable musician, played with tons of different players, he's a huge guitarist / keyboardist extraordinaire. He's played most notably with Frank Zappa. He's also worked with Steve Vai, Joe Satriani, Devin Townsend, and Death Clock, it says here, just to name a few. He's an incredible player, and he also has a great history of solo albums or with the Mike Keneally band that are all fantastic. Very interesting, complex, plays a lot of stuff. He's really good at what he does, and so him being on board to play these prog covers could be interesting. I think in the original announcement, their guitarist was Jason Beeler, but I think he's replacing him in this group. So they're doing a bunch of live tours. It kind of kicks off in LA in April 1st. Definitely one I'm going to look into. It could be a cool one to take my dad to if they're playing like classic prog stuff. I think there's videos of them on YouTube of like stuff that they've played. So that should be really cool to see. And so I'm kind of excited about the prospects here of this group, and we'll have to see what it entails. So just classic Yes and ELP and Genesis and all that stuff should be on the menu for their live shows. So that should be pretty cool. Headline number 5, I wanted to mention Mastodon and Opeth announcing their 2022 co-headlining North American tour. This starts on April 21st in Montreal and runs all the way through May 11th in Riverside, California, which is right in my neck of the woods. So this should be a cool tour. I believe they toured a bit at the end of last year, if I remember correctly. So this is kind of the second leg of this kind of dual headlining act. So it should be a really cool one. Just wanted to mention it. Not much more to say. You can check out dates on that online. It should be cool. One to consider for me. I talk about it often on these shows of like, I'm always debating if I should go to a show or not because I have anxiety about going to live shows and stuff, but it's really fun when I'm able to do it. I like going to shows with my dad, but there's certain artists that just won't connect with him, and I think this is kind of that scenario. He probably won't appreciate Opeth, especially just because of how heavy they are, and Mastodon, so might not be the tour for him, but I would appreciate it. I like these bands a lot, and of course Opeth more recently are getting more prog oriented and not as much in their like death metal heavy phase. You know, they're kind of embracing a more proggy sound. And Mastodon had an incredible record last year, heavy and definitely in the metal genre, but has a lot of progginess, prog flourishes and things in the mix. So definitely cool. Those groups and them playing together should make for a monster show. So some really cool North American dates all through, you know, some in Canada and throughout the different states as well. So should be a cool experience for those who are able to attend. And then a bunch of quick hits. There was a lot of stuff, so I thought I'd do kind of these quicker items. So that's what I'm going to do now, these kind of quicker moments. The first one is a new single from Jonas Lindberg and The Other Side for a Secret Motive Man is the name of the track. So check that one out. I'm going to put links in the descriptions for all these kinds of things. Still, like I said, I'm still learning this process. So, but definitely check out that video for their new single. The new Jonas Lindberg and The Other Side album should be a great one, and one I'll probably feature because it sounds right up my alley of like the classic prog stuff that I love, like Flower Kings and you know, Transatlantic stuff that takes influences from those older classic prog and really brings it into the modern era. So I love that stuff. So this album is getting great reviews and should be a total great one to check out if you like the kind of music I like. So the other quick hit here, DiVirgilio, Morse, and Jennings released a single, You Set My Soul on Fire, which is a fantastic track. This one I think is written from Nick DiVirgilio, kind of a love song, just a really sweet little song, you know. These tracks that they're releasing for this Project Troika, as much as these are prog guys who are very ingrained in different prog bands, this is very much not a prog record. You know, it's very much singer-songwriter, kind of folk rock kind of thing. You know, there's the comparison to Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, all of that stuff. So it should have that kind of quality, but not much progginess. And this kind of confirms that even further. So, but it's a cool song. I like it. You know, I like all kinds of music, so it doesn't have to be super proggy for me to enjoy it. So this kind of fits a cool lane of just a sweet, simple, nice song with great harmonies and great songwriting and melodies. So another quick item, new video was released by Yes for their single A Living Island from The Quest. So really a cool little a video. You know, this song was kind of the final track from, at least from the first disc of the record, and it's just a nice, you know, little track that really, I like the record. I know a lot of people weren't big fans of it, but I think it's pleasant and fun. And this is kind of a nice little ending to the album, essentially. So check out that video if that interests you. Kind of a new video from Yes. Then I found today, this morning, a new release from Is. Is is a band, a more obscure band that maybe a lot of people don't know, but I'm always searching for new, cool little prog bands. And this is one I discovered quite a while back. They've been around for a while. I believe they're from the New York region in the U.S. They released 3 tracks this morning from what they're calling the Endless Collection. And from what I can glean from what this is going to be, I think it's on their Bandcamp page. They're releasing these like songs at a time for this new release. I think they're also working on a full-length studio album that's separate to this, but this is just a way for them to release single songs like just as soon as they're done with them. So I think it's just going to be a way for them to release a bunch of songs when they want to. And so it's just going to keep building upon on this album, just one after another. So should be kind of a cool little release. But there's 3 tracks right now on their Bandcamp page that are all really good. They're kind of shorter tracks, but show different styles for the group. It's hard to categorize them a little bit, but they definitely have influences in that like classic symphonic sound that I like. But there's different, more modern things they're doing, some like electronic things they're doing. They're kind of running the gamut, but they definitely have a strong base of prog, classic prog, Genesis, yes, all of that stuff. So definitely a great band that I would recommend checking out if you haven't heard of them. The 3 songs are Let Me Down, which is more upbeat, kind of almost in a jazzy kind of vein. All of My Places, kind of a more laid-back acoustic folky kind of piece with some great vocals over it. And then Vantage Point, which is more kind of a ballad, but with these kind of really interesting glitchy keyboard sounds and some great synth solos. So really kind of a cool project that I'm kind of keeping my eye on and seeing what develops there. And then finally, item number 10 or quick hit 5, however you want to categorize it. Another new band that I had never heard of. So this is kind of a new project for me. The Way Home is the name of this debut album from the band The Kite Parade. Kite Parade, this is coming out March 1st. There was a video on this. There's a single released from this project that's online. I think the track is called Letting Go. It's fantastic. I really adore this track. I'll definitely put it in the description. It's like classic It Bites, but maybe even more proggy. It's like this great melding of prog and pop music that's really great vocals and just great passionate music, and it's right up my alley of what I love. So this is definitely an album to watch for me. All the tracks were written and performed by Andy Foster, mixing and mastering handled by Rob Aubrey, who's quite a notable person who's worked with Big Train and IQ. And the album also features performances by drummers Nick DiVirgilio and Joe Crabtree, as well as occasional lyrics from Steve Thorne. So should be a really cool release that's coming out pretty eminently March 1st, which is only a few weeks away. So definitely one worth picking up if that interests you. I really like that style that they have, this just kind of classic, sound that kind of infuses a little bit of pop into the mix to kind of give these catchy melodies and things, but really beautiful and really well established music that's just really great. So definitely one I wanted to recommend. So those are basically the news items that I had that I wanted to discuss. Beyond that, I kind of give some updates on the channel and what's been going on and what's planning to happen. So the first news is kind of this format of the show. Definitely give your comments if this format works for you, if you're kind of interested. I know I'm not sure how many people are actually going to join in live, because I know this might be an awkward time for a lot of people. People might be working or everyone's in different time zones and different things. So the timing may not work for people, but it's more a way for me to just do something just unfiltered, and it's just me giving my thoughts purely, and a way for me to just be able to record it and put it out there quickly. Because I always worry that New Music Friday comes out too late because I have to record it, then I have to edit it, and then I have to do a bunch of things with it. So if I do it live and it comes out immediately, I think that's kind of a cool compromise. But it depends on if people like that or not. Maybe you prefer kind of the more edited style of my typical version. So it's something I'm experimenting with. I thought it could be fun to see how it works. So that's basically kind of the newest update about formatting and what I'm trying to do with the channel. I still want to take an audio version of this and put it as a podcast as well, but we'll see how that all works out. So it's all kind of in an experimental phase, but I thought it would be kind of fun to experiment with this today and see where it goes. But this past week, I did a review of The Zealot Gene by Jethro Tull. I also did a recent video on Jethro Tull with Jana. Jana Reacts to Thick as a Brick Part 1. Those are kind of what I'm thinking of as parts 1 and 2 of my Jethro Tull trilogy of videos that I'm releasing. The final part will be my big album ranking, which will be definitely coming out this week. I'm planning to film it right after this and get it ready and good to go for next week. Should be a fun one. I've been listening to their discography quite extensively, and I'm pretty excited to delve into this big album rankings kind of extravaganza. We'll see how it goes. And so beyond that, I there is the return of Classic Albums 101. If any of you were familiar with that show that me and Jana did, where we listened to classic albums, not in real time like Jana Reacts, but we actually listen to them on our own, just separately, and then we just come together and discuss these albums and how we feel about them, what our favorite tracks are, and things like that. So that's kind of we plan to return with that this week with a new episode and do those about on a monthly basis. So that should be a fun one. We're covering Elton John's Goodbye Yellow Brick Road on this episode, and it should be really a fun video for those of you who like me and Jana and our interactions and discussions on music. So that should be a cool one coming up. As for the future from there, basically I'm just reiterating my format of basically I try to have about 3 shows a week, sometimes 4, if there's kind of a bonus type episode like the album rankings. There's New Music Friday, which is always coming out Fridays. And if I continue with this live format, it'll always come out at about this time at 10 a.m. Pacific time where I'm at in the U.S. And then there's always Jana Reacts on Sunday, and there will be a new one this upcoming Sunday, kind of a little bit of a deep cut from a very big classic prog band that I think actually turned out to be one of my favorite videos we've done. It's kind of a cool one. And then there's what I call album spotlights, where every week I try to spotlight a specific album, whether that's classic albums like the Elton John one this upcoming week, or a new album that I'm spotlighting and giving a review of, like I did for the Zealot Gene just this past week. That's kind of the format. And I'm planning to do, I felt like I had a lot of success with what I called New Music Shuffle. At the end of the year, I did this kind of long show where I did 1-minute reviews of these various different albums, but also throughout the year I did these kind of quick shot shows where I'd review 3 or 4 albums in one show and give these recommendations. So every month, at the end of the month, as long as there's enough albums that I listened to and felt are worthy to talk about, I'm going to do what I call a New Music Shuffle to kind of give you guys the albums that I liked throughout the month, that I feel like are worth recommending, that I've been listening to, that I didn't feel like were worthy of their own show. Either I didn't have enough to say, or they're just not big enough releases to warrant their own show, but they're great albums that are worth checking out if you're into prog like I am and are wanting to find all of the hidden gems out there that exist. So the end of February, it will be the first kind of monthly version of this, which will kind of cover January and February. Since January was a little busy, I didn't really get a chance to get one out for January, but this should be kind of a catch-all. And then hopefully moving forward at the end of every month will be this New Music Shuffle where I talk about several albums. So there should be a lot on the docket here. I don't want to spoil too much of the albums I'm going to be talking about, but there's been a lot that people have brought up to me and suggested to me that should become part of that show. So if you want to suggest albums that have come out recently, they may end up showing up on New Music Shuffle if I enjoy them and feel like they're worth recommending or I have things to say about them. So so that's kind of the shape of the channel moving forward. Nothing too revolutionary, just experimenting with this live stream format. I was kind of nervous to do this because I like the idea of editing to kind of filter myself, so just in case I say something weird or stammer or stutter, as an anxious person, it's hard to just put myself out there. And what if I say something weird or, have a kind of a lapse in my brain where I can't think of what to say. But I think it's fun. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this. Hopefully you guys are appreciating the channel. And, I'll get better at this. This is a first attempt. So thank you guys so much for joining me. If you guys joined live, I'm really happy for my community here and for you guys and all you're doing. Hopefully there can be more and more people that join in, and hopefully I can get a bit more interactive. I know there's a little bit of comments here in the chat that I'm looking at now, because I think eventually it'd be cool to kind of interact that way and kind of see people in the chat here and kind of get feedback right in real time. So hello out there to you guys, and thank you guys for joining. And yeah, give me feedback on what you think about this format and if it's fun moving forward, and any suggestions. So thank you guys so much for joining me, and I think I'm gonna sign off at this point. So thank you guys, and I'll hopefully catch you guys in a future show, and hopefully do another stream like this coming up, hopefully next week at least. So thank you guys for joining me, and I'll catch you guys later. Bye.